In this tutorial, we will learn how to implement adaptive music in AtomCraft. To do that, we are going to introduce the block playback system. Blocks allow you to organize your cues in sections that can be played in a different order depending on the game context. It should be noted that there are many other powerful ways to implement interactive music with AtomCraft. First, let's see how to create blocks in a cue. Start by opening your cue. Change the display units of the timeline to bars and beats. Right-click on the timeline and in the context menu, select New Object. Then click on Create Block. A new block appears at the top of the timeline. Let's create more. If you like, you can change the color of your blocks. Right-click on a block and select Color Settings. Now create a track per instrument or per type of music loop. Simply drop the loops on the right tracks in the appropriate blocks. Here we have an interactive music cue with 4 blocks and 10 tracks. We can now simulate what would happen in the game. To do so, hit play and switch from one block to another while the cue is playing. Let's hear it. To change the block's behavior, double-click on it to open the Properties pane. Here we can rename the block. We can also change its duration here or by manipulating the block itself, like this. The block destination corresponds to where the playback jumps when the block has finished playing or has reached a transition point. There are 3 types of transitions available. The first one is None. It will stop the playback at the end of the block, like this. The second one is Next block. The block will transition to the next block. The third one is Block Destination. The block will transition to a block from a list of our choice. If you select this option, the block destination setting window will appear. Here we can add or remove destination blocks and choose among 4 types of transitions. For example, if we choose Sequential and select the third block, the block will transition to the third block at the end of playback. Let's hear it. If we choose Random and add all the available blocks, it will transition to a random block at the end of playback. Let's go back to the Block Properties pane. Here we can define the number of times the block should loop before transitioning. Enter either -1 for an infinite loop or the number of loops to perform. The block number of divisions setting divides the block in intervals at which transitions can occur. Here we have a 4-bar loop. If we set the division number to 4 and select Division for the block transition timing, The block will wait until the first beat of the next bar before transitioning to the destination block. Like this. It is also possible to play a specific track only when transitioning. Here we have created a track and added a transition segment at the end of the second block. Right-click on the track and in the context menu, select the block transition playback type and click on Playback Transition. The track now appears differently to indicate that it will only be playing during transitions. Finally, if you like, you can reorganize the block sequence in the timeline at will. Simply select a block and drag and drop it at the desired position. All audio clips contained in that block will move automatically with it. This concludes our tutorial on the implementation of adaptive music using blocks. Note that the block playback system can also be advantageously used to design complex sound effects relying on a sequence of events.